Hello, I'm Otto, and welcome to episode 3 of my Factorio quality playthrough. So in the last episode, we started setting it up, we set up what we were going to need on a bus, and some of those items are a little odd, like who puts pipes on a bus, honestly. Some of them are a little bit more straightforward, but I wanted to make sure that I had all of this inside of one single RoboPort grid. Normally I have this spread out between two, so it was quite a bit of a struggle to try to figure out, one, what I wanted, and two, how we were going to get everything on here. But you can see that I'm going to be weaving some of the liquids in the middle. So that is one way, and two, we're only going to be doing 4 lanes wide. So that is largely because we are not going to be, probably not going to be making science on novice any more than what our starter base has. So our starter base is chugging along, and one of the changes that I ended up making from the last time was, well, for starters, I filled all of this in. Everything has quality and quality modules in them. The steel all has quality, the copper, the iron, and all of the miners except for this patch over here. So this patch largely doesn't have quality in them yet, and I'm intentionally leaving them without quality. And the reason why is because I was trying to branch off some non-quality from these lines. You can see there's some green in there, and then have normal quality branch off because I ran out of iron down here at my starter base, so I still needed this to come through, but I'm not putting any quality in here at all other than some of the machines. Like, you know what, if we can start collecting some of the quality items, then so be it. So other than that, not much has changed. I did kind of clean up the steel a little bit, so I have had these filtered for rare and these two filtered for uncommon green quality. It didn't even really occur to me that I should be filtering these for normal quality, but I had to go through, and I think I still have some work for some of these. Yeah, there's some, for instance, green quality kind of tucked into some of these, and yeah, I have a little bit more cleaning up to do, as you can see, but yeah, so these are all now filtered for just normal, and anything that is missed by the first 3 can just continue on. Whew, all right, so let's get into what we're doing today. We need to make some gears. We need to make some green circuits, and we need to make some, well, we're going to start the oil process. I don't know if we're going to get around to finishing the oil, but we'll see how much time we have. So I'm just going to extend the bus a little bit. I don't need to extend the steel, but you know what? We might as well have all of this down here with us. And it'll be nice to know where the steel is because I'm going to have gears coming in right next to the steel, so then we can have that lined up. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to be adding in is gears. And I'm opting to remove the power pole that was here because I need to be able to make this turn. Okay, so the way that we're going to have this set up is I've been toying with the idea of how am I going to bring this stuff in. And so normally you would just branch it off, right? So this would be like, I don't know, let's say something like this. This would come in here. This would then come in here and continue on. So you would have your, I don't want this to move just yet because I don't want to have, I have limited inventory space with some of these quality items. So you would have a situation where you'd have like something branch off, right? And in my case, I prefer to have like a priority output right and kind of compress this belt upwards, or at least towards whatever it is that I'm working on. If I was, you know, putting everything on the south side or the bottom side of the bus, then I would probably condense everything to the bottom. But you kind of get the idea. I also played with the idea of, well, what if we just brought in full lines? Well, obviously we would run out of lines, and or would we? So we kind of started the concept yesterday with the steel, in that everything that's coming through, anything that's coming through, nothing can be stopped. I mean, it's fine if it's stalled, like this is backed up. It's fine if it's backed up, but I don't want to have like the end of the line be here, because then what happens if something is missed? It needs to be able to travel through and continue on. So that is what this was. All of the iron plates that we were making specifically for steel are going to come down and merge with the iron lines down here, so that all of these can, in theory, at some point continue on. and keep moving. So that is part of how we're going to deal with quality, but not the full package. Anyways, the other concept is that, well, like this. What if I just brought in full belts? And let's just go ahead and start to set up. I'm going to give us a little bit of space here. So what if I just brought in, for instance, a full belt and had that full belt have, like, let's say, maybe I want this to go, I'm gonna have this go past this. That. So maybe this is gears. And that is 8 wide. Hey, exactly what I wanted. And then the gears would come out on this line. So then what if I, every time I had, for instance, this branch off, iron comes through here, and then iron ends up coming right back out onto the bus, onto whatever line, let's say here. Wow. Something like that. Or sorry, no, this would just be the full line going right back in. So if I brought in one line, this line would eventually kind of converge back together and then become the line up here. Yeah, it would obviously have to kind of merge in with some of the other ones because this is all going to be compressed upwards, but let's say that for the duration, this would not be here. I'm not really sure which one I'm going to end up doing. I kind of feel like I should probably not have a full belt come in and that I should branch it off. And the reason why is, let's say, for just the sake of argument now, we're only going to have blue for now. So I'm just going to set these up for green. So let's say that we had a blue item come in here. Well, we're not creating that many. I mean, there's obviously a lot of blue here now, but that's largely because I was peeling off a lot of the normal quality to go back towards the starter base. But this guy here is going to gobble up every single blue item that's on this line. Now, we have 4 lanes, so that's not a big deal. But what about this line here? This is our gears. So we're only going to have 1 lane of gears. So let's say the gears are going into a build and it kind of travels around and, you know, especially whenever it comes to the epic and the legendary later. But for now, we'll focus on the rare. This thing is going to go, or whatever machine brings the gears in, the first machine that we make with the rare quality is going to gobble up all of the rare. But what if we want some rare to go through? So that's kind of where I'm like, maybe we should just kind of do the whole branching and, you know, like this, and then compress. Maybe not even priority this out. This would not be like that. It would be like this. So that would also then mean that if we needed more than 1 belt of, let's say that we had 2 belts of iron coming in, we would have to do some funky stuff. Like this would have to be here. I have this funny way that I like to do things. So I'm going to have this come in here. This can go over that. This would then go in here. This would underground here. So if I wanted a second one coming, oh geez, even more. So if I wanted a second line coming in, it would have to be something funky like this. That's one option. The other option is kind of more of your standard, like how things come off like this, and it would still need to be backed up by 1 because we would need room for this to go underground and this to branch off as well. And it would look something like this. Yeah, so, and then it would even be a bigger problem if we had 3 of the same item. We're not going to get into 3, so that's probably not that big of a deal. Anyways, I toyed around with a couple of different ideas, but I think I think we're probably going to settle on something kind of like this. We're just going to branch off of the bus and allow things to accidentally continue on. We kind of do want things to continue on, so I am going to set it up with this kind of concept in mind. If I decide to change it later, oh, it's going to be a nightmare to kind of redo everything, but I mean, we would only be redoing kind of entry and maybe even the exit of these specific items that are coming in, the ingredients. But these are kind of the ideas that I'm playing with, and I don't even necessarily know that there's a wrong answer, because you also have to realize too, at some point, well, I mean, okay, the full belt is probably a wrong idea. I'm going to have these branch off. Let's just put it that way. So let's go ahead and start to see what this is going to look like. We're going to need power. Hold on. Don't go through yet. Do I actually want 2 belts coming in though? Eventually I will. This is a 1-to-2 ratio. We need 2 iron plates for every 1 iron gear. Oh boy. Okay, so we're going to have an output here. So these are going to be input and output along this section here. And this is kind of more or less the ratio that I'm going to start with. We can always adjust it after. It might be a pain to do that. And obviously we're going to be upgrading to Epic and Legendary at some point too. By the time we get to the ability to unlock Epic, I should have most of this stuff in different machines. So for instance, the gears, maybe we could do foundries. I'm not really sure. Worst case scenario, I reconfigure some of these. You know what, it is what it, like, we'll figure it out, right? We're gonna figure that out along the way. Okay, so I'm gonna copy all of this. I'm gonna vertically flip it and line that up over here. Bots are gonna help us deal with all of this. Oh my gosh. This would actually probably look something more like this. All right, so let's get some power in here. So we're gonna need, oh my gosh, these belts. Not connected, yay. There we go. Okay, so that is pretty much what our iron gears are going to look like. So this is the outline or output gear here. Maybe we should make this a little tighter. No, because I'm going to have other... other iron plates coming out as well. So this is also going to be iron plates. This will need to jump over. Could I have left that in? Yes, I could. All right. Gears. Let's see. This is iron plates. This needs to go probably more something more like this. Yep. So I'm gonna have the same number of. So if I have 2 belts, for instance, in this case, 2 belts of iron plates coming in, I'm gonna have 2 belts of iron plates coming out, and then we will have to figure out how to merge this. Maybe this is gonna go bye-bye. It'll probably just look the same, but not like just kind of the opposite of what we had. That is not right. Okay, this... merges with this. This merges with this. Hey, we got there. So it's kind of just a reverse of what's going on this side. Whew, okay, and then gears would come down. It is going to come in here next to the steel. This is not lined up right. What am I missing? Ah, that's what I'm missing. So let's just jump that. What? Okay, there we go. Finally. All right. This should have been one more up. Okay, and then this is going to merge? What? Yes, this is going to be merging in with this line. Those of you that know the kind of quality problems that we're going to end up having might see why I'm doing this and what we're going to end up doing. This will make sense in the end, even though you're like, wait, we have gears being made here and it's coming down. It's the only one and it's merging. Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and finish hooking this up. We need to continue on. This will continue on that way. This is iron, so this needs to merge here and balance. This is potential future iron gears. No, that is so wrong. What am I doing? No, you're not that. You're gears. That means this is wrong. Hey, we got there. All right. Whew. All right. So then these will be allowed to come back in, and I want to allow these to continue. So I want to have an input priority on the right so that everything that is coming off of this line gets priority over anything that is on the line here. I'm not going to filter these to have priority, like to compress these, but I would say that after we have a convergence of our belts, I am going to rebalance these and have these output priority right. This will compress, not this one. These will compress everything towards the top lane to have more full belts at the top lane. And this was just going to go underground. Okay, one done. So this will collect these two will collect all of the rare coming in. These two will collect all of the uncommon coming in. And we will have some extras coming along here. Okay, that is good. All right, problem 2. Green circuits. Let's talk about green circuits. So you know the setup for green circuits. Everybody has probably set something up like this at some point. This is going to be copper cables. This is going to be your green circuits. Copper cables need copper plates coming in. Depending on how you set this up, the green circuits need, let's just say iron plates here and then an output. So the output would be, let's say a long hand inserter here and here. Copper plates would come in like this. There's obviously different ways of doing this. Like some people like to have a setup that maybe where the the iron plates come in something like this, branch off, and you collect it there. You know, something like that. And then output onto a lane here. You know, there's different ways of doing it. I've also done it in the past, which I'm a huge fan of. If we were to use red logistics, let's say that we had red logistics coming in. Kind of a similar setup to that first one where we underground over here. And same kind of idea. Either way, you've kind of seen this all before. We're just going to be using yellow belts for now, so I'm not doing the red version. So we're going to probably just have this coming in like this, green coming out in this version here. So this would be 2 copper cables feeding this, or 1.5, and then 1.5 feeding this one, and these would need copper plates coming in. So everyone knows what this looks like, but we are dealing with quality, so we are not going to be setting it up like this. Direct inserting with quality is a complete pain, and because of how few items that we have coming in, we're just going to do like a 1-in-1. I know this is going to seem weird, and I'm going to set this up when we're going to shift it after. So I need... So this is going to be our blue quality. We're going to have copper plates coming in on one belt and iron plates coming in on another, and then output onto a belt like over here. Let's see. So this would then be green quality, and this would be green quality. And I'm going to double that up. Normal quality. I know somebody's going to look at this thumbnail and they're going to be like, this guy has no idea what he's doing. Okay, so that should be 8 wide. That is 8 wide. I'm going to recenter this. We might end up... Wait a minute. I want to have this lined up with this stuff up here. Okay, so I'm going to cut all of this. Oh man, I wish I had more bots. Something like that. Okay, so the reason why I'm doing it like this is hopefully pretty obvious at this point. We are not going to be bringing in... It's not like we have enough of the green quality or the blue quality to actually have these set to ratio. Yeah, we would still have enough of the normal quality to set this ratio, but I'm honestly not really that worried about it. I think I said in the last episode that I'm really not too concerned with quality. Sorry, not quality. Not too concerned with ratios. We just want to be able to produce something, right? And I'm going to go under the idea that as long as we're eventually producing something and we don't have like too bad of a congestion due to quality, then we're probably in a good spot. So this is going to be an output going on to this top lane. We're going to need a input for the iron plates, and the rest of this should be fine. Okay, so this is going to be messy. Not that messy. Okay, I really did not need to have these set up like this. You know what? We're going to set these up like this. Oh, man. Sometimes just a straight line just... Yeah, this is not necessary, but it feels better. Whatever. Okay, so I'm going to copy all of this bottom section. I'm going to avoid the inserters up here because we are going to have different inserters set up. So these are going to be inputting with the red for the iron plates, and outputting with the blue inserter, the fast inserter, for the green circuits. All right, now we just need to worry about what we're going to be bringing in. So an ideal ratio would be let's say 2 belts of iron plates for every 3 belts of copper. Yeah, we're not going to be squeezing that many in here. We're just going to be bringing something in. And we might even, so I might do it. I don't know if we have enough room because coming up on this cliff, the set of cliffs, pretty fast. I might end up just doing... Do I have enough room? So I would need 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 is not going to fit. Okay, so that kind of answers my question. We're going to bring in a single belt and a single belt of each. And then we will output a roughly, not quite, but almost a single belt of the green circuits. And again, ratios, not really that big of a deal because of these. These are going to like kind of hinder us a little bit because they're not going to be crafting all the time, but we are putting them on the entry side to give them priority. Like anything that comes in will have priority over, priority on the belts over anything that is normal quality. That is something that we will continue going forward, and hopefully I remember that situation. So once we get to legendary, we'll have legendary on the inside. Or possibly like legendary and rare, so this would not be, or legendary and epic, sorry. So this wouldn't be like a whole row of legendary and a whole row of epic. This would be more like legendary here, epic here, and then maybe one blue quality, a green, and then the other half. It's, you know, the ratios are iffy, but anyways. So we need to branch off. Well, what did I do with this one? I just did that version. No, wait, I don't want one. I don't want two, I want one. So this is going to be fine here. These will continue on. And we're going to compress these. And again, I'm kind of not going to be prioritizing the one on the far right. Yeah, I guess we could. Whatever. Right, so now I need... Here's our copper, and this will have to come through and merge at some point. And let's see, we need copper to continue. Let's get our iron in here first. So I am going to have to make a decision at some point on when to kind of end these lines, because this is going to be sitting here, and same with these over here. At some point, I'm just going to have to say, you know what, even if we have to tear it down later, I'm still going to want these to just wrap around, so that they can kind of continue moving on to and come back onto the bus. That way, I mean, let's say you had a legendary item that was stuck up here. Like, it would be there forever, right? Like, I'm usually okay with lines ending like this, but at some point you kind of have to just go, right, these have to come back. Okay, so now this is going to drive me crazy. I probably shouldn't have had... Right, so that's our copper coming back. This is our iron coming back. That is not how I wanted that to set up. There we go. Okay, we got there. And this is definitely not a full belt, and most of these are not going to be full belts at the moment. So for now, maybe temporarily I'm okay with this being here, but I would like to connect these at some point. All right, we need to get into oil. I believe I have these mostly set up. This is gonna just come down. Thankfully, these do not have any extra buddies, so... This is gonna input priority right. Whatever. Okay, so you kind of get the idea, and I'm gonna expand on this later after the episode. We need to get into oil, so I need to kind of get my RoboPort grid going a little bit more. Future auto here. So I ended the episode and realized, well, two things. One, I completely forgot to put quality into the assembling machines. So we are putting them into the green quality and the normal quality. We're not putting them into the blue quality. And the same goes for the green circuits. We're not adding any to the blue quality, and we're not adding any quality to the copper cables at all. Also, the second part is I completely forgot that I was going to make two belts worth of green circuits. So I'm going to have a second green circuit build here. So by the time the next episode starts, you will see that all of this will be shifted down by one, and there will be another one here. These will be, you know, a bit bigger. Maybe this one will be a little bit bigger too. Anyways, yes. And last maybe little note is this is like 8 wide is too much for a single yellow belt to take on all of this, but you know what, that is completely fine. We are not aiming for ratios, and we're going to eventually upgrade these to red belts, and then this will be fine. Anyways, back to the video. And I have a couple of oil refineries made, so I'm just going to kind of loosely line this up with the items that we have over here. I'm going to do 5 wide, mostly just because we have room. We have advanced oil processing unlocked, so I'm going to horizontally flip every other one of these. I'm going to hold off on doing the other side. I can expand on that later. All right, so we have oil coming in. And we're going to have water, which is going to have to do something like this. Water can kind of come in from any side, so we're just going to let that pass through because we're probably going to be bringing in water. I'm going to say down this middle section because we're going to have, yeah, there's some water up here and water down here. We kind of, you know, have our pick of the litter, I guess. Petroleum gas is going to be the first one in line. And we're going to send him out as far as he'll go. Okay, this is lined up right. I was like, wait a minute, this is something is off. Oh, there it is. I'm kind of used to doing 4 wide, so anyways, this is our heavy oil. There. Okay. Power, whatever, just get it in there. Okay, that is not exactly what I meant by just get it in there. Whatevs, something like that. Yeah, we'll worry about that later. Okay, so kind of going along the same lines, we're going to have lubricant front and center. How do I want to set this up? I shouldn't have started with lubricant, so we're just going to copy this, vertically flip. Lubricant is pretty easy, just bring in heavy oil, right? Actually for, no. I want heavy oil to come in. There, yeah, we're gonna do it like that. Lubricant can go out, so lubricant will go out on over here. I'm gonna do a solid line because we can always add on to this later if we want. I also want to make sure to leave room for beacons if we want. This is going to be one incoming for heavy oil cracking. Excuse me. There, heavy oil cracking. All right. Flip and flip. Nope. I want these. Yep, just like that. I want these to all be the same. Do I want to do 8? Like, this is kind of overkill to begin with. No, we're going to do 6. Yeah, because that's already going to be overkill. So this can come out here. We're going to have to do some funky stuff in the middle. And I ran out of pipes. Of all the pipes that I have on this map, and I ran out of pipes. Right, and then we're going to need to line up with heavy oil at some point. I can probably pull these back a little bit. Sure. So that's our heavy oil, and the water will come in. Like I said, probably somewhere over here. I do not want it to line up with the other stuff, though. Like that? That works for me. It's going to be really weird. I know. There's like a lot of stuff going on here. Okay, that is our light oil. And that is heavy oil cracking done. So I'm gonna copy all of that and paste it so we can make sure to leave room for the beacon. And I'm gonna change this to light oil cracking. It should just line up. Water is gonna line up in the excuse me, water's gonna line up to be the same. Ooh, that's rough. Hey, you know what? Whatever works, right? But light oil is not gonna be our friend in this situation. Tell you what, we're gonna change where water comes in. Water is gonna do something like this. Where's our other water? That's our water there. Oh man, that actually works out. Oh, and that one was so close. All right, and then water can continue on that way. Okay, so this is petroleum gas. Petroleum gas was the first option here. Oof, perfect length. And then we get screwed over by this power pole. All right, not a big deal. You can't win them all, right? We're going to have issues with the light oil anyway. So this is light oil. Rip Roboport. It is what it is. I probably could have just shifted all of this over. Actually, I think I might just do that anyways. Okay, so this is heavy oil. A little bit more of a stretch. That's probably still not going to be in our favor. What am I doing? We're going to just pull this as far out as we can, and then we can just get it a little bit closer. Okay, is that going to line up with all this over here? Yes. All right. And water can still come up the middle. That's fine. We don't need to be too picky with that, right? We need to be a little bit picky. Okay, whatever. I'm over it. Heavy oil, light oil, petroleum gas. Still not going to line up for us. There. Okay, that'll work. And this is heavy oil here. We're gonna have everything continue on. I doubt that I'll need any more things breaking apart heavy oil than what this is gonna do here. So if we need to add anything, it'll end up being light oil cracking. So light oil. Speaking of light oil, this is light oil here. And then petroleum gas. Let's see. Can we just drag this in? Yep, that'll work. And there. So now we just need to worry about water. So water we can maybe have on, let's say, this plane here. There, okay. I did not leave any room for power. That's fine. I think in the builds that I've typically done, I used a substation. Yeah. So it would have looked something like that. Everything would have been connected like this. Maybe I'll make some substations. I do not have that unlocked, but I'm going to go ahead and research that. Okay, so that is going to be it for me that is going to be it for me for this episode. Between now and the next episode, I'm probably going to double up on the gears. I'm probably going to at least double or triple up on the green circuits here. I'm going to double up on this one, and this will be left as it is, but it will be all filled in. I'm also going to probably go ahead and drag some water down. So that is going to be it for this episode. In the next episode, we're going to have some more problems. This is all fine. Pretty straightforward, I guess. The problems that we're going to have coming up, red circuits are going to be a little bit more interesting. So we're going to do plastic and we're going to do red circuits in the next episode. So, that means that I'm also going to have to tap some coal in between the next, this episode and the next. And unfortunately, I think oh boy, the best coal that we have that I can put quality modules into is not going to be this one. This is for our power. It might have to be this guy down here. This one I'm going to leave for power. Yeah, so I'm going to have to tap this and drag it all the way over here. Fun stuff. Yeah, so I'm going to do that in between now and the next episode. That is going to be it for me. I will see you in the next one, and thanks for watching.